Hey guys, it's Michael. Welcome back to Boxmining. Today we're going to start a new series called the Gem Finder series to identify the real crazy ass coins that don't have a lot of attention but have a lot of potential to grow in 2024. I'm assisted by Ron today,
Yes, sir.
and we're going to start today with Polkadot. You've probably seen that all over the comments right now. Like everyone's talking a lot about Polkadot.
Yeah.
And I think it's no better point because Polkadot's been building a huge amount over the past year. There's, they have a big name, Polkadot 2.0 coming up. We'll cover that. But not only they're building, but there's a few conditions that are ripe for growth. We're going to call that the fuels of growth. We're going to cover that in today's video. We're going to do a little bit of recap of what this whole thing is, Polkadot 2.0, and a little bit of review on the ecosystem. The whole point of this series is to kind of identify the trends that's going on and to identify what Polkadot can do before it takes off to the moon. And I see a lot of these conditions are similar to what happened with the Cosmos ecosystem, kind of like in Injective and the Celestia.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we see behavior that's very similar to Solana right before it took off. And I wanted to identify that before, it's bad. It's not good to talk about things after they've gone up. It's like before they gone up. So that's the objective to today's video.
Yeah.
So obviously everything covered here is my personal opinion, not financial advice. And this video is made possible by the Polkadot Foundation. All right, let's get started with the fuels. All right, I've identified 3 fuels. I always like number 3. 3 is the best number. And we're gonna list them out in this right now. So number 1 fuel for success for Polkadot is that it's a layer 0 narrative. All right, Ron is like jumping to go on this,
Yeah.
What does that mean for you?
Anything with layer 0 provides infrastructure for developers to build, and then for users to leverage interchain liquidity.
Yeah, and I hear that all the time. Okay, I'm gonna blow up. I'm not blow up on you, Ron, but I hear that a lot, and a lot of these big words pop up. But what's kind of very interesting about layer 0 is that because it allows everyone to build blockchains, it allows, if any of these blockchains take off, it brings strength. Yeah. And that's what we saw with Cosmos, right? Bring up the Injective prices, right? Injective took off, right? That's a
crazy
straight cliff, right?
Yeah.
Then we got Celestia took off with that narrative, and then it brought this whole ecosystem to light. So if any of these projects that are built on top of the layer 0, if they blow up, the whole ecosystem is going to blow up.
Yeah.
And because it's a layer 0, it's got enough fuel to support an entire narrative rather than just like, a small story. This is like a complete arc.
Yeah.
So that's number 1 point. This is a layer 0. This will have its kind of full narrative arc. And we'll look at the ecosystem, but the ecosystem is poised to succeed. So that's number 1. It is an entire narrative and it's a layer 0. Number 2 is Dot 2.0 is coming up, Polkadot 2.0. There's a lot of fundamental changes that technologically can make Polkadot superior, not just to kind of compare to Ethereum or Cosmos, but it can really take everything to the next generation.
Yeah.
So it could be the case that I think a lot of people are arguing, Polkadot doesn't have the TVL that Ethereum has. It doesn't have as much activity. But in terms of fundamental tech, it's actually like, I would say it's one step forward. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a lot of detail. Finally, it's a community, and I think this is it's love and hate.
Yeah.
But the community in Polkadot, they are extremely anal, and we saw that with Solana developers. And we went to developer hackathon.
Yeah.
The Solana devs and the Solana community was like super anal. You say one word wrong,
Yep. You get banned out
get
of there.
banned. And I see that with Polkadot. I've been reading a lot of comments on both videos, on posts, on our threads, and you can see a lot of anal community members being like, "Yo,
Yeah.
this word is misused. Your analogy sucks." All right. And okay, as a content creator, I hate that. But that being said, it goes to show like these anal people, they're gonna be the hodlers that power the next run. So we saw that with Solana. I mean, we saw that proof in the pudding. We went to that event, lots of anal people there. Guess what? Solana pumped like multiple times afterwards, right? And you can see that also in play in their open governance. So Polkadot has an outlet for all the community members, and they have a DAO to fund projects as well. And I feel like this is when I think to put it lightly, there was a lot of drama here.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of this drama happening where funds are going and the whole community is arguing, like some whales and some gruppies and
Yeah.
arguing of where to spend funds. But actually, this is really good for the community because once people start voting and it's contributing, they lock up Polkadot.
Yeah.
So 120 million dots being locked up for participation,
Yeah.
which actually reduces the supply
Yeah.
of dots. So hey, 3 fuels, layer 0, dot, DAO. These are the fuels that's going to power it, and we're going to talk about everything else in the rest of the video. Let's start with a quick recap of what is Polkadot. So previously on Boxmining, we talked about Polkadot going live, and it's really a layer 0 project created by Gavin Wood. So let's bring up the picture of Gavin. Look how handsome this guy is. All right. So Gavin's one of the co-founders of Ethereum. So if you guys know, these guys are probably one of the smartest people and the biggest visionaries in this space. Now, Gavin's has had a very different vision from Vitalik, which is why they kind of split off.
Yeah.
And the Polkadot project is really about forming many chains rather than having one big chain.
Yeah.
So Ethereum is kind of the first, dApp chain, first computer, but Polkadot's going to be like the supercomputer with many chains surrounding it, which is why, yet again, it's such a big project. If you actually look at the market cap of Polkadot, it's not a small deal right now.
It's not.
It's 9 billion, I think.
Yeah, even considering its performance since the all-time high, it's 9 billion market cap.
That's pretty insane, right? So, and then the reason is because obviously it's got substantially smart people backing it and it's got a very big vision. Now, in terms of just explaining to us, I watch a lot of Polkadot videos and I feel like people don't explain it well. So I'll just do a very quick explanation. So the way Ethereum works is that think of it as a single road. Okay, I'll use my hand for this. Instead of drawing, my drawing skills are not very good. Think of it as a single road, okay? Every dApp that builds on Ethereum, it's like a car. Car. Uniswap car, right? It's like Aave car, whatever. So the problem here is that the more cars there are on this road, you get a traffic jam.
Yeah.
Right? And the more you try to entice developers to come, please come build on it, you get more and more cars, which lead to a bigger traffic jam, higher gas costs, and eventually people will be priced out. $100 for a transaction on Ethereum or something like that. We've seen these spikes of high traffic jam activity. Bad. All right. So there's ways to try to alleviate that problem by building, kind of stacking rows on top of it, kind of. That's kind of the layer 2.
Yep.
But what Gavin kind of thought is that this is not the best solution. So instead he says, okay, instead of having apps on the same road, why don't we give developers a toolkit to build your own freaking road?
Yup. There's a lot of land here. There's a lot of land there.
Go build your own fucking road.
Build your own road.
Right?
Yeah.
So there was a toolkit. So what Polkadot did in their auctions, I think the best analogy for this would be they sold cement, they sold trucks, and then developers can build their own roads. The whole idea is that everyone can build their own road. And that's with the kit. The kit is called Substrate.
Yeah.
Right? So yet again, all these names, I think they confuse a lot of people. Like people are like, oh, Substrate, what is that? Well, it's just a kit to build your own road.
Yeah.
It has all the necessary ingredients for you to build that road, build your own blockchain. And it makes it so much easier because one of the worries about building your own blockchain is security. But Polkadot solves this by saying, why don't we share that security with everyone? Which is why this chart makes sense. And it looks cool as fuck, right? Like these chains connected to each other, talking to each other, but also sharing security.
Yeah.
Okay, which is why it kind of works like that. And we can see a similar model with Cosmos, Atom, where chains like Injective or Celestia, they all have their own functionality, but they're also a chain by themselves. So then they can create their own transactions without congesting the main network.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the best way to explain this layer 1, layer 2 model. I know the fanatics of Polkadot will hate this analogy because they're like, oh, it doesn't account for this and parathreads and this. Oh, what about this? But I feel like as a basic analogy of roads, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Now, this leads really nicely into how Polkadot 2.0 is working because in terms of Polkadot 2.0, there's substantial changes to how these roads are laid out. So previously, if you think about roads and them selling a kit to build roads, they sold in a giant kit, maybe 10,000 tons of cement and 40 trucks.
Yeah.
But you don't need 40 trucks all the time, right?
Yeah.
A lot of developers, they don't need 40 trucks. And this favored a lot of the bigger projects, but it kind of like faded a lot of smaller projects and intimidated a lot of developers to come on to Parachain or to Polkadot. So now they're introducing something called Core Time, and they're kind of changing it to such a way that instead of just buying, 10,000 packets of cement, you can just buy one pack of cement, do whatever you need, and just buy more as time progresses.
Yep.
Right. So I think that's what's happening with the Core Time / Para threads, and it's gonna change fundamentally how Polkadot works, developer friendly.
Yeah.
Getting me so far.
Yes.
All right, great. I'm trying to make everything simpler. So right now, before there was like 52 parachains, but now they're looking at para apps, and they're looking at a different way to kind of grow and encourage developers come on. Number one. Okay.
Are para apps counted as app chains?
Yeah. Exactly. And yet again, they don't congest the network. The more developers come on, the more it creates security for the network. So I feel like that's the fundamental change in ideology. It's like instead of more people coming in and congesting your roads, more people come on and create more security. That's a genius. This is why we need Polkadot and not build an Ethereum, right? That's why Gavin left, because fundamental change.
Charles Hoskinson had the wrong idea.
But they're friends now. Because there is an interoperable link between Polkadot and with ADA, and we see that. I feel like that's also it's not technically Polkadot 2.0, but I feel like it's something that people overlooked, that there's a lot more collaboration between Polkadot and ADA, and we'll see that. We'll talk about this ecosystem, but the idea of bridging is also coming. Second point, that's a really big upgrade. Again, this is technically not to Polkadot 2.0, but you can expect this in the later half of this year, is asynchronous backing. Yet again, a lot of dev work went into this. I think the dev detail is way too overkill for what's like necessary for us. But at the end of the day, it just means that in terms of how timing is done, timing can be broken down into smaller chunks. It net results in something that's more or less an 8 times improvement in speed. And of course, I think everyone's going to say there's like a million TPS. Does that impress you anymore? Million TPS.
Frankly, yeah. If you can back it up with asynchronous backing.
Okay, yeah, that's the only way. I feel like this is kind of just moving everything forward.
I think would an easier explanation be with asynchronous backing, all transactions don't have to be executed in sequence. It can be grouped into different batches. Right? That's the biggest problem with Ethereum, right? All transactions have to be verified in sequence, in order. And you have to pay a lot of gas if you want to jump the queue.
Wow, Ron's a teacher now. Hey, that's why we're trying to do on our channel as well. We're trying to include more kind of discussion type, and I feel like that's exactly that. And I think the final diagram we'll leave with Polkadot 2.0 with all the fancy diagrams is this one here. So initially, what they were doing is long-term leasing, the slot auctions, buying a slot for 2 years. But now you can see that they're trying to include a larger ecosystem. And one thing to remember of a larger ecosystem is that if any one of these ecosystem apps takes off, it benefits the entire space.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
You have many soldiers now.
Yeah.
You have more soldiers, you have more chances to win.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the key difference here.
Yeah.
So lastly, we approach onto the ecosystem. All right. And I think this is where Ron is going to be having fun because there's going to be a lot of airdrops. The more circles you see here, the more airdrop potential there is.
Yeah.
More circles. More airdrops. And I feel like what's kind of interesting, and I see this mirroring the injective ecosystem a lot, is that they have a huge, solid foundation backbone. So say, for example, Hydra DX, where the exchanges are, right? That's where the order books are, everything's powered by exchanges, right? And you see that with Solana too. Solana's backbone of Radium is just super, super strong, right?
Yeah.
So having that backbone there, Hydra DX, having that there is a key player. I feel like that's something you should explore.
Yeah.
And then we have Moonbeam, which is the EVM compatible one. Then Bifrost, which is their kind of the link, and the liquid staking platform. And then lastly, Snowbridge. Everyone's talking about Snowbridge being able to be able to bridge everything across. And of course, my personal favorite, Infinity. But you know, that's just me, right? But that's because I've been in Infinity since 2017. But what's kind of powerful is that a lot of these kind of parachains, they still haven't fully, I think, grown used to each other yet. I think they're still in the kind of the teething phase. But once they start working together with each other, they become super powerful. Which is what you see happening with the Injective ecosystem.
Yeah, on Cosmos as well.
Yeah.
Kujira, Secret Network, they're starting to collaborate with each other
Yes.
and make use of each other's liquidity hub.
Yeah. So I feel like that's what we need to really highlight here. So I guess the best way you should do it, and this is something that I've been doing, and now you can see Ron having this as well, and it's the substrate wallet is now super important. So you can bring that up and explore the ecosystem a bit. And I think that's kind of the key. Right, because these ecosystem chains or parachains are what's gonna power the next kind of phase of this, and we definitely see that in play. I mean, you didn't really hear much about Cosmo for the longest time, but when it clicked, like all these pieces that were like kind of almost competing with each other, they start fitting together like a jigsaw puzzle. So I think that's kind of what I want to highlight for this ecosystem here. Look at Hydra DX, look at the exchange powering that, look at their bridges. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. There's so many options now. That's crazy.
Yeah. All right, that guys, that's pretty much this video. I think as a gem, I definitely feel like Polkadot. It had a lot of like, we don't usually talk price, and I don't want this to be a price one, but. So Polkadot had a huge hype phase because of two kind of reasons. One was the slot auctions, and then the Chinese market. But I see that kind of strength returning, which is why we're kind of really covering it on this video. It's one of the situations where you want to start doing activities early, and then once everything starts popping, then you're just like you're carried up. With the water, rather than just waiting and trying to like swim and find the right place. So, all right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. This is one of the first episodes we have in the Gem Hunter series. We want to do a few more. There's actually quite a few that I've been keeping, and you know they're not on my list yet, but I feel like has a lot of potential. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, and yeah, we'll see you.
See you guys very soon.
Yeah, peace.
Bye bye.